All right. Dirty Sports, episode 848, live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Southern California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back.
A late start today. Thank you. It's good to be back. Kind of.
Talk to me. Looked like you had a
not really good to be back. But I came back yesterday, did 2 great shows at the Hollywood Improv last night. That's what I needed to be back for. Did I consider immediately booking a flight back to Tahoe today? Yes, I did. It is glorious up there in every shape and form. The thing about Lake Tahoe and going to the American Century Championship, which is the celeb tournament that they put on every July. The thing about going to that is it is such a great place that while you're there and you're seeing all the celebs and you're seeing this great tournament, you're enjoying yourself. But if you've experienced it outside of that, you also wish you could just flip a switch and turn it off and be like, I want to play Edgewood. And I want the roads to be less trafficy and I want whatever. So it's like, I love going to Lake Tahoe so much. And I do love going for the tournament, but boy, it's just so beautiful and it's great being in the lake. And then when you're there and the tournament's on, you're in the lake with like literally 15,000 boats. And so it's, but it is truly one of my favorite weekends of the year because I mean, now with my friends up there, the great crew from McDuff's Pub Tahoe. I've said it before on the show and I will say it again. If you're ever in South Lake Tahoe or anywhere in the Tahoe area, I would drive from around the lake to go to McDuff's, the best pub in my opinion, the world, just run by the best people. So much fun. Now that those guys are like involved in the tournament, it just gets more and more fun to be out there. So Thursday, I caddy in the practice round. Friday, I watch the first day of the tournament from land. Saturday, I watch mostly from the beach and a boat with your boy Damo. Well, we can talk about that. That was an interesting experience. And then Sunday, they obviously wrapped the tournament, but I flew back for my shows. Mark Mulder pissed away a gigantic lead. And Mr. Anti-Clutch with a football becomes Mr. Clutch with a golf club. Tony Romo able to close for once. Actually, 3-time American Century champion, 0-time NFC championship game quarterback. The guy can close in golf, man. Should have been a golfer the whole time.
You think he's good enough that Romo could have been a pro golfer?
I think it's safe to say that he could have. I mean, if he had focused solely on golf, that he could have had a decent shot. I mean, I know there's a lot. I'm not enough of a golfer to know. I've heard that, like, you know, these guys, they're just so locked in that, you know, if you just went out and played a regular course with them, that you know, if you just went and played like a really tough course, you went and played Edgewood with Tiger on a random day, he'd shoot like 59 or something like that. And Tony Romo's not shooting, 13 under in a day or whatever, but he's playing pretty good. I mean, the thing is, Annika Sorenstam plays in this tournament and she is the greatest lady golfer of all time. And she doesn't win it, and I know that's men's and women's in the sport, but like, she's still pretty good. Like, I watched her play. Like, it's not like she's not playing incredible golf. So yeah, I mean, I don't know so much about golf, but it seems like,
now she hit from the women's tees.
They basically have celeb tees for the whole tournament. It's not like the furthest back,
By the way, that's a whole thing. Like, can we talk about that?
Well, I do that in my act now. I talk about the ladies. I talk about the ladies' tees. Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard that.
Yeah. And then I say, like, you guys you get a head start on every hole because you're a woman. She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, actually. I'm totally fine with that. And then a dude like crushes one. And I'm like, he's like, all right, your turn, son. I'm like, oh, I identify as a woman. So I'll just be up there with Susan all day.
I've heard that. You've had that bit. I've heard that. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of where my head was going with that. I see.
Yeah.
But
so
she doesn't win. And how old is she?
She's in her 50s. I think she just recently had taken like 10 or 12 years off from playing and then was finally old enough to play on the senior tour, which is 50, and just like immediately won the first senior tour event.
Yeah, she's 51.
Yeah. She was really cool. We were playing behind her the whole day on the practice round. So on the practice round, it's like a shotgun start. You all start on a different hole. There's 2 groups per hole. So there's like the first people that'll tee off on one hole, and then the second people. They teed off on 17. We teed off on 17 right behind them.
Worst celebrity golfer that you saw?
That was, well, I mean, obviously Charles is pretty bad. Miles Teller was unimpressive. Miles Teller was shooting. I mean, listen, he's definitely made it as like a, he's a new kind of, he's just now like so famous where they're like, you can play no matter what. But like, I'll tell you the worst guy actually. And I saw this and I gave him a fist pound. I said, what's up, RG3? When's that book coming out? Robert Griffin III.
You didn't say it to him.
I did say that.
You didn't say it to him.
I did. And he laughed. And I didn't even know about it. So you told me about it like a couple of days ago. But the bottom of the things are Robert Griffin, Dylan Dreyer, who I don't know who that is, John O'Hurley, which is Jay Peterman from Seinfeld. He's pretty old, pretty bad. The Miz, wrestler,
sure,
real world wrestler. He was pretty bad. I saw him. Anthony Anderson was pretty bad. Colin Jost from SNL. I saw him on the range hitting it pretty well, but he didn't perform that well. He didn't play that well overall. I'll tell you what he shot, but I was like impressed with him. I mean, he shot a 101, a 98, and a 95, and his swing looked like he was better than that. But
RG3 that bad, huh?
RG3 that bad. I think he's maybe just picking up the game, but he finished dead last. RG3 dead last. Yeah. So there's a different kind of scoring.
Wait, hold on. Breaking news. Congress is going to do a committee. They're going to bring in Roger Goodell to question if there was any tampering with the former Washington Redskins, current Washington Commanders. I'm just getting wind of this. Okay.
So you get 2 for a double bogey or greater. You get it's like plus, how does it work? It's like plus a point or minus a point. Like it's minus scoring is bad and plus scoring is good. You know what I mean? And so you get -2 if you double bogey or worse.
Okay.
And on his 3rd round, Robert Griffin III had double bogey or worse on every single hole.
Wow.
That's bad.
Yeah.
I played on the best round of golf I've had on a legit, serious, difficult course, which was a couple weeks ago, my best round. I had 1 double bogey. Robert Griffin had all double bogeys or worse. Robert Griffin is a bad golfer.
So
Robert Griffin shot 108.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. What's going on in the
He shot 119 in his first round. 119.
Yeah.
That's worse than I played at Pebble 2 years ago.
Is he playing on one leg? I know he had some leg issues and knee issues.
So he was by far the worst.
So what's going on in the lake? Tell me about the lake. Like,
so 2 holes.
Is it 17, just everybody partying?
2 holes, 17 and 18 are on the water. 17 is a par 3 right on the water. And people literally dock their boats like on the shore. And then it's just a party. Like they line, there's a rope where you don't need a ticket to be on the beach. But to go onto the course, you have to need a ticket. So all these people pull up their boats and then they just set up parties, put up tents and stuff like that on the beach side. They don't need a ticket. Some people are partying on their boats. Some people, like the shoreline gets so full. Like Damo got there. Damo was like, I'm getting there at 9. I was like, bro, you're not going to be anywhere near the fucking water. And he wasn't. He was like 50 yards out, which is the whole story. I had to like wade out with all my shit above my head so it didn't get wet. My cell phone, my keys, like whatever. But yeah, they all pull up and they party. And then like as you know, on 17, they have a basketball hoop set up. So when Steph comes through or whoever, Ray Allen comes through, they'll take a shot. They'll have kids like run off the beach and they'll throw Aaron Rodgers football, and some kid in board shorts that's had 40 beers will do like a fucking post pattern, and Aaron Rodgers will throw him a football. Like it's wild. It's wild out there.
This sounds like just like a mecca for like white people. It's like
golf,
lake, partying,
golf, boat, Lake Tahoe. Yeah.
It's like you're checking off every drunken white person. Like that's what we do.
So Damo tells me, I was like, Damo, am I going to have to swim out to your boat, or are you like pulling up on shore? He's like, I'm going to pull up on shore like it's fucking Normandy. You'll be able to walk right onto the thing. I get out there. He's 50 yards offshore. And I try to walk out with all my stuff in my hands. And then I get to the point where like, I can't stand anymore. So now I'm like wading out, and I like wade the last like 15 yards, like just power kicking, keeping all of my belongings above my head. And I get out there. He's like, legendary, you got out here. So then there's this big Topgolf yacht that is out there, and they're giving away a bunch of shit, t-shirts and whatever. And they're like, we got this big floaty. It looked like a car and had a top and whatever. They're like, we're giving away this big floaty. We're going to throw it off the front of the boat. First person to swim up to it gets it. And I was like, yo, Damo, I need that just so I can float all my stuff back into shore dry when this thing's over. And he's like, all right, you got to get it. And I was like, all right. So I'm standing on the front of the boat waiting for them to drop it. And Damo's whole crew is like, dude, you need to get in the water and like get going. Like you need to get that boat over there is like 15 yards closer than you. And that chick's already in the water. I was like, guys, no, I don't need to go from a dead stop in the water. What I need to do is I need to dive when that thing hits the water. Like I need the momentum.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, no, they're like, look, they're already like wading closer. I was like, guys, I need this to keep my shit dry. I was like, there's a 0% chance of anybody getting this besides me. And they're like, I don't know. You seem really confident. I'm not really sure this is going to work out. I was like, guys, trust me, I'm good. And I'm literally like perched on the front of the boat. And the guy's like, all right, here we go. This girl's got like a 20-yard head start on me. That thing hits the water. Perfect entry dive. I came up with 2 butterfly strokes so I could spot the thing. And then once I knew I was in the right direction, hard like sprint paddle. And I got the thing and I came back to the boat. And his buddies were like, dude, when you were underwater for like 8 seconds and then came up with 2 hard butterflies, we were like, oh, this motherfucker is just showing up. Like they're like, those people have no chance. This guy's fucking Michael Phelpsing out to that thing.
Well, who are you competing against? Is this like a drunk girl in a bikini?
Is it? Yeah. But then her boyfriend like saw that I was like on the move, and he tried to dive in and like beat me to the thing. But they had like,
this sounds like an 80s movie.
They literally had like a 20-yard head start on like a 50-yard sprint. They were about halfway to it.
So what did you get?
So then I got this big floaty, and when I left Damo's boat, I put all my shit on it and like just floated in so I could keep it all dry. But I was like, listen, you guys don't realize, but there's nothing I would say I'm more trained for in my whole life than a drunken lake swim race. Like no one's trained harder at drinking and swimming than this guy.
Are people just like absolutely smashed?
Smashed, dude. Absolutely smashed. People are smashed all up and down the course.
Yeah. We
were smashed on Thursday. We were drinking Scott. Jay Billis was like appalled at us. We played the round with Jay Billis. He was just appalled at how much we were drinking and partying. At one point, they had me take a shot. They told me like hit one on 7, I think it was.
What was he saying? He seems pretty straight edged.
He's pretty quiet. You know, he was fine, but he's pretty cool. Like, I don't know. He was definitely kind of dorky.
Sure.
Like,
well, yeah. I mean, Duke Lawyer.
We're playing a scramble or a shamble or whatever, where everybody kind of hits you all hit a drive. You take the best drive and you go from there. And there was like a couple of things where everybody's like, whatever. And he's like, I'm just going to play it safe and, lay up. I got to practice for the tournament and stuff like that. We were like, oh, Jay. But I kept trying to talk to him and I was like, what's your handicap, whatever. But Ian gives me this like motorcycle.
I saw that.
I'm cruising around the course on. I have a caddy outfit and a motorcycle. When I say no one stopped me from doing anything, I just got to drive it wherever I wanted. And no one said shit. And people thought like this caddy outfit, like, it was like, there's no one here in caddy outfit. People aren't wearing caddy outfits. Most people don't even have caddies. The staff was acting like I was like an actual legit caddy.
That's funny.
That could go anywhere. So the first thing is I'm on the putting green, and I walk by Jerry Rice. And now this is my God. This is like maybe one of my all-time top 5 guys ever. And I was like, GOAT, good to see you. And he was like, good to see you. I was like, GOAT, we got to stop with all this GOAT. This guy's the GOAT. That guy's the GOAT. Everybody's the GOAT. I go, you're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. We got to stop with everybody's the GOAT. He's like, thanks. I appreciate that. And I was like, GOAT, well, I have you here. We sign my caddy outfit. And he's like, sure thing. So he signs it. And now once I got the GOAT.
Was that the plan all along, to get everybody to sign your caddy outfit?
Yeah. But it was like, how are we going to broach the subject with people? So I just found myself talking to Jerry Rice for a minute. So I'm like, all right, let's start with Jerry Rice. And then from that point on,
I'm like, Jerry signs it. Everybody else has got to sign it.
And everybody I talked to, I was like, it doesn't matter who it was. I referred to them as a great. Like I saw Andre Iguodala. I was like, Iggy, I got all the greats today. I got Rice. I was like, I need a finals MVP on here. And he was like, and dude, I mean, you know me, I threw all the shit out the window when I was like talking to these guys. He's like, I was like, we got to get a finals MVP on there. He's like, yeah, man, finals MVP. There's a lot of luck. I was like, a lot of luck. I was like, LeBron shot like 38% in that series.
You're the man, little Iggy. Ass kisser.
Yeah. I was like, you're the man, Iggy. I'm like, I'm kissing all the asses, because Ian, who is so gracious always to host me, threw me a great birthday party on Tuesday, which I was not expecting, gave me a whole bunch of shit. I can't wait to show you these sneakers he gave me. He gave me a pair of Chuck Taylor high top all-stars with NBA Jam logos all over. I mean, all the things, a million golf balls, golf shoes, like all the things. So it was like, he wants to donate this to charity. He wants to like auction it off for charity. And I was like, I got to get everybody. So then it's time for us to tee off. But I get like, another one from the second person I got to do this. And this is for people who know me from my anti-Cubs World Series rant days. You'll be surprised to hear me say this. But do you know who the single coolest dude was? John Lester. First of all, huge, crushing golf balls. Just absolutely murdering balls on the range. Like hitting balls like 340. And I was just like, whoa. So then I go to the bar, and everybody there, there's all these like food stands and whatever. But because we were members of the club, I got to go to the club bar. And I go and I'm like, you guys have Miller Lights? And he's like, yeah. So I was like, all right. I bring out a couple bottles of Miller Lights. And I walk by John Lester. And John Lester literally goes, they got Miller Lights? Dude, they got Miller Light. They got Miller Light bottles here. And I was like, yeah, you Miller Light guy? And he's like, dude, is there any other beer? And I was like, John Lester, you are the man. I was like, yep, they got Miller Lights in the bar. Just go out. So I go over to Ian. I bring him a Miller Light. And I was like, John Lester, Miller Light guy, suddenly my favorite dude of all time. And he's like, give him my Miller Light. I was like, fine. So I go back to Lester. I was like, John, you want this Miller Light? He was like, I would murder somebody for that Miller Light. I was like, all right, here's your Miller Light. I go, now in exchange, will you sign my caddy outfit? He's like, absolutely. And then the whole weekend I would see him. He's like, Mr. Miller Light. I was like, you know it. I was like, I'm actually sponsored by Miller Light, John. I should hook you up. I should hook you up with my sponsor people. This guy Seriously loves Miller Light. So that was the second guy I got. And then we get I got Jerome Bettis. I got the list of people that signed the caddy outfit. Let me just rip it off for you because it's pretty wild. Jerry Rice, John Lester, Barkley, Colin Jost, Charles Woodson, who is awesome. Charles Woodson has a wine and bourbon company, which Friday night I got way too drunk just drinking only things distilled by Charles Woodson. Intercept wines and Intercept bourbon. David Wells, Alfonso Ribeiro, a.k.a. Carlton.
Yeah.
Yep. Joe Buck, Larry the Cable Guy, Jay Billis, Annika Sorenstam, Iguodala, Jerome Bettis, Marcus Allen, Vinny Del Negro. And the last two, which were, this is probably one of the highlights of the weekend for me. So we're going down to tee off on Thursday, and we're teeing off on 17. Now there's two groupings. There was an early group. They teed off in the morning, and there was a 1 p.m. group. We're in the 1 p.m. group. So the people who teed off in the morning are wrapping up, right? Now, one of the premier groups of the whole weekend is obviously the Patrick Mahomes group. Like whichever the huge groups were Steph's group. Obviously, he's the biggest star because it's kind of the Outer Bay area. And then he played with his dad and his brother day one. And then they mix it up depending on how everybody's doing. The Justin Timberlake group is always really big. Patrick Mahomes group, huge. And then our boy McAfee, Aaron Rodgers, AJ Hawk, their group on Friday was huge with the three of them, especially Aaron and Pat together. That was huge. All the McAfee fans following them. Miles Teller had a pretty big group this year. Timberlake and Romo, those two guys always have a decent group and get paired together. So day one on Thursday for the practice round, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andrew Whitworth, all playing together. They must have teed off on 1 in the morning. So they're heading to 18 as we go to tee off in the afternoon. So we're driving kind of reverse through the course. We're driving from the opening hole backwards to 17. So we got to pass 18 first, and then we get 17. We get to the tee box at 18, and they've blocked off everything. They've roped off the whole area. There's a huge crowd, the security guards and whatever, because Mahomes and Kelce and Whitworth are walking from 17 to 18. We are supposed to get 17 to go, and we can't even get through. And I mean, it is a mob scene. But I'm on this motorcycle. So I just pull up the rope, drive the motorcycle onto the 18th tee box. I don't even know what's happening, by the way. I don't even know that this is why. I'm like, oh, it's probably Steph or something. So I pull all the way out on the 18th tee box, and I start driving along the 18th tee box backwards. And suddenly Patrick Mahomes just walks onto the tee box. And I literally, like a kid with his bike, skid stop. And I'm like, Patrick Mahomes. He's like, what's up, buddy? I was like, can you sign my caddy outfit? And he literally looks around like, how did this guy even get here? And I heard the rest of the weekend, like he was not signing autographs for anybody. He wasn't like, he was kind of like not, he's very keeping security. So he must have just been shocked and appalled that there's even a mustachioed caddy on a motorcycle suddenly on his tee box. And he was just like, I guess. And he signs it. And I was like, thanks, later. And then I fucking get back on my motorcycle and I go around. And as I go to the back of the tee box, Andrew Whitworth shows up again. Stop. I get off. I'm like, champ, what's up, champ? He's like, what's up? I was like, you sign my caddy outfit really quick. I'm going to get to 17. He's like, no problem. Signs it. And then I was off to 17 to tee off. But both of those guys were just had the look on their face like, how am I even talking to this person right now who's clearly drunk on a motorcycle in a caddy outfit, having me sign his back?
Again, I think what we've created possibly, or you created, and I'm kind of piecing together, is a possible movie. I mean, we could do some things, it's a comedy. The guy on the, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just thinking about this. It's like an 80s or 90s movie.
So then I'm fucking the whole day I'm getting drunk. I'm just like drinking. I'm slamming beers. Dude, everybody saw the caddy outfit. People on 17, they're telling, I was like, dude, your caddy outfit's sick. Have a beer, take a shot with us. Drink some Fireball. Ian's got a bottle of like Macallan 18 that we're drinking the whole time. Jay Billis is like, these guys are getting hammered. And I was like, yeah. So
I bet Billis hated you.
Billis, dude, I saw Billis.
Let's be honest. Deep down, I think Jay Billis didn't like you.
Billis didn't seem to have a problem with me particular. I don't think Billis liked Ian because Ian was in his group equally as hammered to me and just like would get on every tee box and try to like hammer a golf ball. And was like, I mean, I was kind of keeping quiet for the most part. I'm just like getting drunk and like whatever.
Well, you're not really too obnoxious. So
no. And then everybody's on the carpet. I think the one thing that bothered Billis is he was walking the course with his caddy. Okay. And everybody else in our group is in golf carts. So they're all staying on the cart path. I'm pulling this motorcycle up to the tee box. Jay Billis starts walking after every tee shot, and I would just like buzz by him on a motorcycle.
Oh yeah,
so I don't think he loved the motorcycle.
He hated you, dude. He hated.
But he was really nice to me all weekend too. He saw me all week. The next day he saw me. He's like, "How did did Ian get up okay this morning?" And I was like, "Ian's fine, Jay Billis. Like, you fucking relax, dude. Like." But his caddy was super nice to me too. So on 7, which is a par 3, I'm now hammered. We start on 17, so this is our 10th hole. I'm wasted, and I come up and Ian's like, "You got to hit a tee shot," and I was like, "What, dude? Like, I'm in a caddy outfit that's too small. I'm drunk. Like, I don't want to hit a tee shot." He's like, "You got it. You got to take one shot at the green." I was like, "Fine." So I go up. There's 1,000 people there because it's like one of the par 3s. They're all screaming. There's a Corona party. The guy Manolo teaches golf is there. He's like, "Yeah, bro, get nasty, bro." I was like, "All right." So I go up and take one practice swing. Some guy's like, "You're going to need more than that." I was like, "Yeah, I know. It's a practice swing, bro." I get over my ball. That guy's in my head. "You're going to need more than that." I take a huge swing, skewer one out to the right. I think it hit a kid. And somebody's like, "That's the worst shot the whole day." I was like, "Yeah, I'm drunk and I'm in a caddy outfit that's too small."
Some kid lost a right eye because of you.
Yeah. So
I gotta ask you about the thoughts there. Like, what's the thought situation there?
Lot of thoughts hanging out.
That's what I figured.
Following around.
Little groupies.
Yeah, little groupies. Justin Timberlake. The Miles Teller extravaganza. The girls follow Miles Teller around, and he's walking around every day with his wife, who's very cute.
Yeah.
And girls don't care. They're like trying to take off his clothes. Like, this is
what?
Yeah, like people like pawing at him and stuff. Like, I didn't know Miles Teller was like,
I mean,
a crazy sex symbol.
Well, I mean, look at him now. So, I mean, he was already. I mean, the Top Gun is next level. Did I ever tell you that I matched with his sister on Bumble in LA?
No, that's fantastic.
Did I ever share this story?
No.
So I matched with Miles Teller's sister, like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I pieced it together that it was this. Somehow I pieced together that it was this. He wasn't in any photos. Dude, it was so random. I saw a picture, like a Halloween picture. And then I'd seen a girl I matched with. And I like had pieced. He was like cut off in it, but I had like, wait, I think this looks like. Anyway, I pieced it together. It was his sister. But here's the best part. We were like messaging on Bumble to hang out. And you know what just made her ghost me? It was like such an innocent Andy Ruther line, but it's so funny. We were messaging I don't even think we exchanged phone numbers at that point. We were messaging a bunch on Bumble one day, and then suddenly she went dark, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I went in I got like a real deep tissue massage the last 90 minutes. That's why I stopped talking to you." And all I wrote back was happy ending question mark. Dude, she never
unmatched.
Dude, she literally unmatched me for a simple happy. That's all I wrote. Happy ending question mark.
That's the most classic Ruther unmatch of all time.
Oh yeah. She's probably just like, fuck this guy, immature with these happy ending
the
jokes.
Only thing more Ruther than that would be like, you know what I like after I get a real good relaxing deep tissue massage is to go get Taco Bell and then shit my brains out. Just really cleanse the whole system.
but for me, it's like, you're giving me a lot of attention, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like a happy ending joke. Anyway, funny.
So he was kind of the new Timberlake this year. He took a lot of like the groupie vibe off of the Timberlake group. But Timberlake is a guy. He's one of the few guys there. The coolest thing about the tournament is guys are just guys don't give a fuck. Like, everybody's just talking to everybody. Like, there'll only be 2 or 3 guys every year who are like really like touchy about like who talks to them, who like,
that's
like
cool.
Patrick Mahomes was very like, I heard not signing autographs. I know Steph does like as much as he can, but he's a Beatle when he's there, because it's just all kids in Steph Curry jerseys.
Sure.
Miles Teller became like the groupie group this year. Timberlake's usually the groupie group, and he's very protective too. Like, he has a security guy that like follows him the whole day. So on Friday on 9, we like used our passes. We had like hotel guest passes and whatever. So we snuck our way. We're literally sitting green side on the empty side, like where on 9, all the players walk off and they get on golf carts and they drive them to 10. So we're literally sitting there where there's 0 people there, but me, these 2 people I'm with, and like security guards. So Timberlake starts walking off the green, and I could tell that he is tense, that there's even people there that are not security. Like, oh, like these people could bum rush me if I wanted to. And so he walks by, he's like real stone face. And I just pull out my phone and I start running video. I was like, hey, JT, say hi to my sister, Gabby. And he just like stone face walks by. And then like it registers. And 2 seconds later, he turns his head. He's like, hey, Gabby.
I saw that.
And I sent it to my sister and she lost her mind.
Yeah, I saw that. That's funny.
Yeah. So he was very concerned, but then he threw me a hey, Gabby. So yeah, shout out to Justin Timberlake. But dude, it's an epic weekend. It's really like, and a lot of dirtballs have been messaging me. Oh, dude, for golf sports fan, I was like, it really is like it's a must do. It's to me, it's like I'd almost rather go to that than like a golf event.
When did
like
this thing start?
Long time ago. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I remember when I was in high school and college.
But like how popular it is more recent.
It's so popular now. Yeah, I mean, we were stacked back on the beach. It was crazy, and the beach is like a mob scene.
So, like, what do people do at night?
Go to the casinos, party. Like, there's one night at Harrah's, I think it's Saturday night, where literally all the athletes go and like sing karaoke, dance on stage. A couple of years ago, that's like Barkley's getting wasted. Like,
yeah.
Everybody's just like hanging out, getting wasted. The first night they did like a pairing party. I saw our boy Kevin Millar. He has assured me that he will be a guest on the Dirty Sports Podcast. Kevin Millar says, I will come on the Dirty Sports Podcast. And I was like, all right, but also before you come on, how about my Mets this year? Should I be worried Atlanta's making a run? And he's like, you get DeGrom and Scherzer back. You guys are the best team in baseball. I was like, yes, Kevin Millar. Thank you. I was like, as an unbiased.
Did he say that?
Yes.
He said best team in baseball.
He's like, you get DeGrom and Scherzer back and they're healthy. He's like, who beats you guys in the series? I was like, I don't think anybody. He's like, I don't think so either. I was like, all right, will you come on the Dirty Sports and say that? He's like, absolutely.
Well, that's cool, man. It sounds like it was a pretty awesome weekend.
It was fantastic. I mean,
you were there how long?
I was there Tuesday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Tuesday night, just like hung out, did some birthday shit. So nice. All these guys could be, and my buddy's house is right on the 4th hole. So like even Wednesday morning, people were like practice round and we're getting up, we're watching that just out the balcony. Wednesday was just chill day. I mean, I spend every day when I'm not at the course, like at the bar or playing cards at the casino, and it's just celebs everywhere all weekend. It's really a wild scene.
That's cool, man.
And everybody's just kind of like, I'm on vacation. Like the whole vibe is just
sure. That's chill.
Yeah.
That's really cool that everybody's accessible. That's awesome. Well, I think the best segue from discussing that with celebrity is to talk a little sports gossip.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, this thing just won't die down. I noticed on Twitter, the Zack Wilson banging his mom's friend.
This is a wild story. I mean, it's a wild story, but you got to believe. I mean, it's his girlfriend that said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not talking about some Reddit post. Oh, I heard he bangs his mom. Like, this is his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, just violently throwing him under the bus. I mean, I don't even want to call it throwing him under the bus. I want to call it like throwing him into a pile of crashing buses. Like, how much more can you throw somebody under a bus than this?
Dude, I got to read this headline. This is so funny.
Is this a Black Sports Online headline?
Dude, it should be.
It should be, but because Zack Wilson's so white, it's a White Sports Online headline.
Which this is basically White Sports headline, the Daily Mail from UK. Right? That's basically white sports.
Yeah.
As far as like white news. This is what the headline says. American Pie, the Mormon version, : Jets QB Zack Wilson and girlfriend split over claims he slept with his mom's best friend as she reveals she is now dating his ex-Brigham Young roommate, Commanders wide receiver Dax Milne. That's the headline, the Daily Mail.
Yeah. So basically the gist of the story is she breaks up with him, or they break up. They break up. She starts dating his former roommate from BYU, who's also an NFL player. Somebody goes under her Instagram, calls her a homie hopper, which I guess means when you hop from one homie to the other.
The things we learn on this show.
Yeah. And she fires back with, he was sleeping with his mom's best friend, he's the real homie hopper, correct? Is that the word? I mean, pretty something close to that.
So, well, first of all,
that is a wild claim. But you remember his mom was getting all kinds of attention.
She's attractive too.
Yeah. Because she's only like 36 or something like that, right? Like she has some like Mormon, she had some Mormon kid at like 18 years old and he's 18 and like she's like 40.
Well, I'm on Black Sports Online now. I've moved on to that.
Yeah.
He's got a headline.
You gotta give me his headline.
Well, this isn't the main one. Jets QB Zack Wilson's mom, Lisa, doesn't deny he slept with her best friend. We got to go to the, God, he tweets so much. Okay. Here we go.
Deep breath. It's like me diving in the lake for a 50-yard swim.
His ex is hot too. She's like your classic hot little like white thought. Notice I don't say thought anymore. I about my game. Okay, so this is one of his tweets. I'm sure he did it a bunch yesterday. Jets Zack Wilson dropped his girlfriend Abigail midseason for upgraded IG model. So she smashed the homie, his boyfriend, Commanders wider. What? I'm reading this correct. Let's start again.
Yeah. So she smashed the homie.
I know. I'm reading it like there's not commas because there really isn't. Okay. Jets Zack Wilson dropped his girlfriend Abigail midseason for upgraded IG model, comma. So she smashed the homie, his BF, Commanders wide receiver, Dax Milne, semicolon. When the streets said she violated, Miss Guile said no more of a violation than Wilson smashing his mom's BFF.
This is the headline?
This is his tweet. In parentheses, IG pics.
This is the headline. This is amazing. By the way, the Zack Wilson story, the easiest title ever. Thoughts and prayers. Easiest title ever for the Zack Wilson biopic. Thoughts and prayers. The rise and fall of Mormon grape Zack Wilson.
What's crazy about all he's right. Robert Littau's right. Dude, everybody looks so eerily alike. It's like the tan blonde. It's like Hitler's wet dream how all these people look. Doesn't it like kind of remind you? Like it's like eerie how everybody looks. God, I'm down this rabbit hole now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is too funny. I mean, this is what's going on though right now.
That's because if you have brown hair and brown eyes, you're a lessman. You're not a Mormon. They're like, no, you're not quite on our level. Like
his girl, his ex,
and his mom look identical.
That's what I'm saying. Like his ex, this what's her name? This
Abby Giles or whatever.
Abigail. She looks like she could be his sister.
Yeah.
Fucking Mormons, dude. The Mormons are wild.
You all come out looking the same way if you soak for a while before you do it.
Dude, the soaking thing is
every person's alive. Every single person on planet Earth's very first piece of jizz is blonde hair, blue eyes. And so because Mormons don't ever get that out,
that's
because their first time is the time they get it in. they all come out looking identical. That's what every person on planet Earth would look like if we all had our first jizz into a person.
I don't know, man. This is just so funny to me. You know, good for him though. Like that's the age where if you're going to go after the Cougars, you know, I went through a big Cougar spell around that age. Like,
now, but my question for you, Andy, and to transition this into what will definitely be our next story is, what does this mean for the Jets? This can't be good for the Jets. Or is it?
I think it is.
You think it's good? You think this just like, I mean, in the locker room, does he just have like legendary status?
Yeah.
Or do you think, or do you think the brothers in the locker room are like, how come his mom and his girlfriend all look the same? What's going on here?
No, I think he gets a little more street cred.
Yeah, for banging his mom's best friend.
Yeah. I mean, that's some serious street cred.
Some Brent Barry, Tony Parker shit.
What happened with them?
Delonte, LeBron shit. Like,
oh, what happened with Brent Barry and Tony Parker?
Wasn't there? I believe there was some sort of marital. I think Tony Parker
Tony cheated on Ava Longoria. That's why they broke up.
With Brent Barry's wife, maybe.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I think it might have been it.
Was that her name? That actress?
Yeah, Eva Longoria.
Eva Longoria.
She also played third base for the San Francisco Giants now.
I used to crush on her hard, man. That was a college Andy Ruther crush.
Mormons are like, she's a 4. She doesn't look anything like my mom. I'm out.
I think it bodes well for them. And to be honest, I think as a player, dude, you're a young quarterback. I think it bodes well for you. You don't got like, you're not going to deal with the baggage of like the mom's friend. My point is like, it's not a Brittany Mahomes or Brittany Matthews, whatever her name, you know, you don't have that like hanging on your side.
I saw no Brittany or Jackson Mahomes in Tahoe this weekend. None of them. No presence whatsoever.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm telling you, everybody there's on vacation.
Yeah, man. I'll be curious how this plays out. Obviously, year 2 is when you got to make the leap, and they'll be.
And it'll be tough because he's New York Jet.
Yeah, and in that division, and it's just, I don't know. But as long as you don't go the Baker Mayfield route.
So, Zack Wilson out banging his mom's friends. Baker Mayfield, 10 hours of Halo per day.
Allegedly. This is pretty. These are a couple young QB bombshells that were pretty wild. So more is coming out now about Baker Mayfield and his time with the Browns. The Athletic wrote an article on it. And this is just from the article. I'll read this and then we'll get to the Halo stuff. Mayfield was, this is a direct quote from the article. Mayfield was widely viewed as childish and immature. His behavior annoyed teammates and divided the locker room. He was often difficult to coach. Interesting.
Now, there's a couple of different things I want to bring up because I don't remember which analyst or whatever tweeted it, but it was, you know, there's been a lot of talk, and I was just talking. I don't know if he's still watching, but my buddy Tony called me before the show. He was very upset that I basically have been a Odell Beckham defender, but not a Baker Mayfield defender, essentially claiming they're the same person because both with their off-field antics. Now, prior to that phone call, I saw over the course of the weekend, it was like somebody said it was very telling that when Odell kind of demanded a trade and then was released, that there was a lot of like, good luck with your life, my brother, like onward and upward, like a lot of like Cleveland Browns tweeting him well wishes on sort of escaping their organization. And I forget who it was, but whoever the analyst was like, we have seen zero, like, gonna miss you, my brothers, for Baker Mayfield. Not a lot of the Browns locker room seemingly very upset that Baker Mayfield has been traded and is moving on. Now, also in regards to that, my point when I had this conversation was we don't hold, and I think appropriately, we don't hold wide receivers and quarterbacks to the same standard in terms of their antics on the field and off the field. And I think that's, one guy is supposed to be the guy who's sort of the leader. And then, if you didn't have diva wide receivers, then Julian Edelman really would be in the Hall of Fame because there wouldn't be a ton of guys left. Like we don't, if Tom Brady was going around acting like Gronk and Gronk was going around acting like Tom Brady, it would be the headline in every single newspaper ever. Right.
Yeah.
Tom Brady bangs swimsuit model, spikes his beer on a fan's head at the BSO headlines about Tom Brady. If Tom Brady were Gronk, would be insane.
Sure.
We don't hold wide receivers to the same standard of off the field sort of antics as we do the starting quarterback of a football team.
No, definitely not. Nor should we.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that came out about Baker is this wild tweet. Somebody tweeted December 24th last year, I just played 10 games of Halo with Baker Mayfield, and he added me. What the fuck? Now, again, this could be true. It could be untrue.
Right. But this is a tweet that is dated from last December, essentially.
And then this other person says, is this the same person? This is somebody else who says, true story. We played Green Bay last year. Baker home that week with COVID. They sent him game plan all week for him to study on his own. Browns find Baker played Halo 10 plus hours on each day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Shows up Saturday in Green Bay, not knowing game plan, 4 interceptions. And I don't know if you remember, that was a game that the Browns were right in to win.
Yeah.
In Green Bay. That was over Christmas.
And I think that's when we go back to not a lot of Browns fans seem, or not a lot of Browns players seem super upset or wishing their boy well or saying, we know you about to go off, son, or all the things that they said about Odell Beckham as he was leaving. Is they have a good offensive line. They have a great offensive line. They have a two-headed monster at running back. They have a pretty goddamn good defense.
Yeah. I mean,
you got basically your job if you're Baker Mayfield, but forget the feeling dangerous. Just don't go full Jameis. Throw 2 picks and you win that football game.
Sure.
Throw 4 and you lose. So it's I think a lot of people were even with the, and we talked about it, even with the Deshaun Watson thing up in the air, it seems to me, especially in the reaction or lack thereof of Baker leaving from his teammates, is maybe they even feel let's just get Jacoby Brishkoli in here to not turn the ball over. Give me 6 for 9 in the first half for 68 yards. Just don't throw 4 picks.
Yeah.
Just give me a good old classic Brishkoli.
Yeah.
Give me that Brajol,
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's the truth, right? If you have a game managing QB, when you have a run game and a defense, that's how you win games.
When you don't, when you're not one of those teams, who needs somebody to ball out,
Yeah, it's funny. I was cold on Baker. Then I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe now I look back, it's maybe I was right all along. I just didn't. The maturity thing sometimes can take a minute, but he's in his 5th season and it doesn't seem like he's matured at all.
Well, I think, again, I love that suddenly we're this could be true or not. The amount of we're just Zack Wilson definitely banged his friend's mom, but Baker Mayfield being Halo, this is hearsay. But I almost think that kind of thing is more dangerous, to steal a line from Baker, than he just was at home studying all week and then would go out at night and have 12 beers. You know what I mean? Like I'd almost rather if you're like, okay, listen, I'm going to be home with COVID all week. I'm going to study my playbook from 9 to 5. 5:30 happy hour starts. I'm getting shit canned. I'll be hungover the next day, but I'll get up and work, as opposed to just 10 hours of Halo all day and not doing your playbook.
Halo, like that's a thing, man. Like really,
that's what I'm saying.
That's like next level. Halo. I mean, come on, man. I've seen the commercials. You got an entire stadium. You got shit to fix. You got lights. You got plumbing issues. You got bathrooms to clean. You got a whole stadium and you're going to play Halo?
Somebody needed to sell that PS3 at his fucking yard sale. Get Halo, get him off the Halo.
I mean, what's going on here? Come on.
Also, you would think with all the Halo he's playing and with the headset on and everything, you would think you would have some more field awareness. You think you'd be able to see a shooter over here and a shooter over there. Meanwhile, he's going on the field throwing picks.
Who's Hulu replacing him with? I mean, he's been the guy the last few years. Like, who are they replacing him with?
I don't know. Arch Manning.
I will miss those commercials. They were pretty clever commercials.
That's the only reason you ended up buying in on Baker at any point. There was the moments you bought in on Baker, it was just because you loved his fucking progressive commercials so much.
They were funny commercials. They were well written. I liked his comedic timing. Yeah. So I don't know who's going to do that. They got to find somebody though. There's so many. Watching all that play out is going to be fascinating to me. Watching him in Carolina and then also the Browns. I believe he plays the Browns this year because I think AFC North gets NFC South. But you're right. I feel like nobody cares. Like there's nobody standing hard for Baker right now.
They're probably still out there. There's probably still a few out there.
Well,
but,
of course.
Yeah.
But you're not really seeing it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the Keith Hernandez retiring jersey for the Mets because they've only had a few. Right?
Yeah, the Mets have been very, very tight with the jerseys. They've been tight with the statues. They just got the Tom Seaver statue this year. This is a new era again, and I've said it before, and now with Steve Cohen, you can see it. But I mean, this has happened. I would say going back to Cuban. I mean, obviously there's Jerry Jones, like there's guys, but like almost, we can say, you get a LeBron type player, you get the first overall pick and you get a literally once in a lifetime generational talent. Otherwise, probably the number one thing that you can do to change just like the whole like aura, vibe, just like everything about your team is just new ownership. And that's what the Mets got. They went from one of the worst, cheapest, scammiest owners in baseball to, I know there's a lot of, talk about how Steve Cohen came by making his money or whatever. But it's like, dude, if you're a billionaire in the Wall Street game, you're probably a thief. I hate to break it to people out there who like, don't meet your heroes. They're probably a fucking con artist in some regard, but he has changed the whole culture. He wants to do right by all these players who are responsible for championship teams and who are responsible for making the Mets who they are. So first step was obviously the Tom Seaver statue. And now we get the retiring of Keith Hernandez's number. I think a very valid number retirement for the New York Mets, and probably the first of a couple that will go that people thought maybe should happen for a long time. And Keith's just the best. I mean, he's not, I mean, you look around baseball and other sports as well. A lot of guys, the Vin Scullys have their microphone retired or whatever. It's like Keith Hernandez was the captain of a championship team. Sort of like there's not really an argument. The best defensive first baseman of all time. Like no one really seems to argue that point. 11 straight Gold Gloves, the most ever in a row by a first baseman. And, unlike Derek Jeter, an MVP, unlike Derek Jeter, a batting champion. And again, captain, the guy sort of the Steve Cohen as a player of the 80s Mets, he's been very vocal about how he came there. He didn't want to be a part of a young team, but he took it upon himself. He was like, if I don't fucking sort this shit out, like I could potentially be out of baseball soon. He takes the reins as being the guy who's going to teach all the young kids. He's already been a world champion. He's already been an MVP with the Cardinals. He's going to teach the young kids how to do it. And then the young kids go on, to have one of the great ball clubs of all time and win a World Series in 86. And also part of Keith's legacy, loved to party. And that team was kind of undone by their partying. So, he got him to the peak, and then at least a little part of it, responsible for maybe the fact that there was a very short peak for them. But I would say by all definition, the heart and soul of that championship team, that era for the Mets, the captain.
Where would he rank for you personally?
As an all-time Met?
Yeah, or just like, he doesn't have to be the best of, or even like where would you put him in your fandom, right? Because we all have guys that we love that we know aren't the best, but just something about that player made us like them.
I think Keith Hernandez, for me,
is he in your top 5
all time as a Met?
Yeah.
Oh, as a fan, all time, for sure.
Like for as a fan, okay,
for sure. I would say, and I put this down the other day. I would say these are the Mets who I would say are above Keith Hernandez in terms of Mets all time. I would say Seaver, Piazza, David Wright. David Wright, in my opinion, ended up not sort of achieving what he could have or should have due to injuries and other things. But if you look at the Mets all-time leaderboard, he basically holds every single record. Beltran, the Mets obviously don't get a World Series there, but not because of him. I mean, he was really, really good at his time in New York. DeGrom might already be above Keith as a Met. And I think is safe to say, unless there's, unless these injuries just derail the rest of his career. I mean, he's won multiple Cy Youngs. To me, he's already there. And if he's not already there, it's tracking. I'd also low key put John Franco above him. John Franco, kind of the heart and soul of like a long run of Mets, from kind of bridging that early 90s Mets to that, early 2000s Mets. Gooden and Strawberry are sort of that next tier. Obviously, such short careers with the Mets considering, but Strawberry is like, I think the Mets all-time home run leader. If he's not, he's behind David Wright. Had all the offensive numbers. It's probably as a Met above Keith, because Keith was only there 7 years, and Gooden obviously before DeGrom and post Seaver, by far the best Mets pitcher. And then I would say Gary Carter and Keith Hernandez are sort of the same, because they're both there 7 years. They're both there essentially the same amount of time. Gary Carter, a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, but not as probably important to the Mets as Keith Hernandez was. So I'd say it's kind of Keith, Gary, but you could argue one or the other. And then guys who had really, really good careers offensively and defensively, maybe some of overall numbers better than Keith Hernandez as a Met. Jose Reyes, Howard Johnson, maybe the most.
I was literally about to say, what about Hojo?
Hojo might be literally the most underrated Met of all time. If you go through Met statistics, he's right there on like a lot of offensive numbers. He used to go 30-30 regularly, like when that wasn't a thing for people to do all that often. He was young on that 86 team, but he was a part of it. But he kind of became the face, the low key face, as like Gooden and Strawberry are having their issues. Carter and Keith move on, age out and move on. Howard Johnson's kind of the bridge from 86 to the mid 90s, the early 90s. And he's right there. Like, he is maybe one of the most underrated baseball players of all time. And I would say he's the number one most underrated Met of all time.
I mean, hands down, the best player named after a hotel chain.
Yeah. Gray mustache, full on gamer. Pete Alonso will probably, if he tracks, be.
But I don't think you really answered my, like, what about for you? Where does Keith rank for you as a Met all time?
So I'll say, like, I didn't watch Seaver. I wasn't the world's biggest Piazza fan, although I like him. I put Keith over Wright. I put Keith over Beltran. I put Keith right over Franco. Like, to me, Keith's like a top 3 Met of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And, because, Severs is gone by the time I'm watching baseball,
Great on Seinfeld.
Yeah. Great on Seinfeld. No, Keith's, listen, I joked about it when I did the show for the Mets. I'm like, listen, if I had been a Gary Carter stan, I might be walking around with a perm these days. But I'm a Keith Hernandez stan, so I'm walking around with a fucking mustache. Legendary stash. Legendary cat, legendary broadcaster. I'll say this, in terms of everything that they gave the Mets, he might be number 1. He's still involved.
Yeah. Body of work.
He's the best. He's in my opinion, as far as color guys go, like one of the best in baseball.
Sure.
And forget it when you get Gary, Keith, and Ron in there together. That's the best crew in all of baseball, in my opinion. I don't even think it's close. I can't believe Ron is the one who got the national gig. I love Ron, but like Keith's like far more entertaining.
Sure, I agree.
And you watch the '86 documentary, he's petting Haji the whole time. Like, Keith's a legend.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So shout out to Keith Hernandez. I saw everybody wearing the fake mustaches. I was like, I wish I could be there. Happened to be the same weekend as thing. Obviously, I would have gone, rocked the same. But yeah, 17. I'm glad no one will wear it ever again. It was too long. And you know what? You know who I talked to about the very same thing this weekend at Tahoe? Our boy Tim Brown. I said, Tim, can we do something about why are the Raiders still giving out 81? What is happening? He's like, I don't know, man. I was like, can we do something? Can I do a change.org? Like, fucking, poll, like something like, what's happening? He's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, you're in the goddamn Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Do the Raiders retire jerseys?
I don't know, but I know like for years, and I don't know if they've stopped. Like, I don't know if it's in the process or whatever, because I haven't seen it. No one jumps out to me, but for a long, long time, you'd be watching Raiders games and there'd be some shithead that's not going to make the team wearing 81 for the first 3. And you're like, why are they doing this to the guy?
3 teams, the Raiders, Falcons, and Cowboys, traditionally do not retire jerseys. So they don't retire jerseys.
But obviously, you talk like no one's wearing 22 in Dallas. Jerry Jones, for some reason, keeps giving away 88, but like no one's wearing 22. And Raiders, let me ask you something. Why the fuck not? What are we talking about?
This is an old article. The quote says, the team has always believed that not retiring jerseys jersey numbers allows us to keep the memories of former players fresher in our minds. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Raiders are going to Raider though.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
but listen, Bo Jackson's not getting his number retired from the Raiders. Right?
No.
Great little run. Off the top of your head, who's getting their number retired from the Raiders? Off the absolute top of your head.
Besides Tim Brown? I don't know.
Right. So what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It's ridiculous. All right. We have some calls today that are some calls. This first call, I'm so glad he made this call, actually. Because I was thinking the exact same thing, dude. Your ears must have been burning. I was thinking the same thing last week, even. And here's what's crazy. I was thinking the same thing also when I went to a Jersey Mike's last week. It's like we had some sort of connection going on. So that's the first call I want to start with, because I'll be curious what you have to say about this.
I can't wait to. I don't even know what this could be.
Hey guys, it's John in Salt Lake City, Utah.
More Mormons, yes.
Just leaving Jersey Mike's for lunch. And quick question, as I was checking out with my card there's an option, to tip the sandwich people, I guess, or the cashier or whoever. I've been seeing this a lot more now lately at kind of similar establishments, like not your typical restaurants where you have a server, but just for you yourself, go get your food. I'm about 10 years younger than you guys, and this was never a thing growing up that I remember. I'm always kind of on the fence about tipping in these instances versus your typical sit-down restaurant. So I was wondering what your approach is to tipping the people at the coffee shops and the Jersey Mike's and the like. That's it. Stay there.
I think this is a discussion that has to be had because I think it's gotten out of control personally. Like, I'm all for being generous, but I also know wages are higher than they've ever been, like insanely high. We all see it because of inflation.
Right.
Like, you see the signs when you drive anywhere. You're like, what? They're paying $15. Like, I worked at McDonald's for a while in high school.
But what are we really talking about? Like, inflation, so the wages aren't really higher. Your money's just worth less.
Well, when you're a high school kid, you don't have shit to pay for.
Right. But whatever you do have to pay for, it costs that much more. I mean, you go to the ATM now, they give you 50s, they don't give you 20s. That to me was like, that's everything about fucking inflation. Remember a $50 bill? Remember when Data saw $50 bills in Goonies? $50 bill, $50 bill, $50 bill. The guy was losing his mind. You don't lose your mind over 20s.
But you never saw this growing up, and now it's almost.
Well, here, let me give you my answer, because there's two things. One, you go to a coffee shop, you go to a sandwich shop, you go to a deli back in the day. You're not using Apple Pay, bro. You're paying cash. And they had a little fucking half of, they had a styrofoam cup there, said fucking tips with an exclamation point, some funny little thing, and you throw your fucking change in there, or you throw your fucking dollar in there. As a guy who used to work in a fucking burger joint. It's different though. But as a guy who used to work in a burger joint, the tips were fucking everything because you're getting paid shit, but people were paying in cash. So you're giving the change, or you're giving a buck, or you're giving whatever. But then you go to absolutely no cash. Cash is essentially not used anymore. So of course you got to put that on it. Now
it says 15, 20, 25%. That's where they're like, what? Here's
what I'll say. So there is a coffee shop that I used to go to, not a Starbucks. First of all, if you go to Starbucks, they don't even give you an option to tip. As far as every Starbucks I've been to, which I'm like, whoa, this is wild. Because I'm paying with a card, so why you should? I almost feel like give me an option to tip. I used to go to a coffee shop, and it said it would do the automatic thing. They'd flip the screen around, and it said 20, 25, 30, and I was like, "Are you guys on drugs? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?" I would say this: if you're a coffee shop, what that should be set at is $1, $2, 20%. Because when I go to a coffee shop and it's 15, 20, 25, my go-to move, if I go to a coffee shop or I go to a Jersey Mike's or I go to whatever, I hit other. If I got a coffee, I hit $1. If I get a sandwich at Jersey Mike's, I hit $1, maybe $2. If I get a big order, it's almost like a per item tip at a takeout. If I get one coffee, $1. If I get two coffees and two sandwiches, all right, $3. You know what I mean? If I go to Jersey Mike's and I order for the office, all right, $5.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But forget the 10, 15, 20, 25%. To me, coffee shops, sandwich shops, $1, $2, $3, other.
Well, my problem with some of these things now, and by the way, I'm probably over too generous, to be honest, but I don't like when you don't really have a choice or when they trick you. So here's a prime example. There's this great chicken sandwich spot that I like to go to called City Bird. I went on Friday. I picked up
City Bird.
I picked up 3 sandwiches.
Another one for me, the kids out there.
One for me and one for my brother and one for my sister-in-law. I didn't just give her my card. Dude, so you talk about like being put on the spot. She goes, "This is for you to sign." You know, she out the drive-through window, I'm putting my card in it. Oh, no. This is it. I fucked it up. Sorry. I give her my card.
Mm-hmm.
And then she puts the thing out in the drive-through window and goes, you need to sign this. And that's where like she's holding onto it and it has the 15, 20, 25%, exactly like you're talking about. And I'm like, whoa. And it was a high school girl. It was a young girl. And I'm thinking, okay, now I feel like a shithead. If I hit no tip, I kind of look bad. But again, like you said, my only option is 15, 20, 25%. It's like you're in a way you're forcing me.
There wasn't an other type your own custom tip situation.
Maybe I missed it. I could have missed it. But my point is how it's presented in that situation. You're handing this back to me to scribble a little signature. I feel, and the truth is I tipped her 15%. And as I drove off, I was like, dude, she just shamed me.
15% is for waitresses and waiters. 15% isn't even for a bartender. Like I
do 20%. Look, I'll tip everybody 20%.
I tip everybody 20%. I'm saying though, the standard 50, is kind of like culturally 15%. Like we don't go below 15%. That's standard culture is like, that's for waiters and waitresses.
Sure. I agree.
If I sit at a bar and eat, I maybe give them 20%, maybe. Otherwise, if I order from a bar, if I order drinks from a bar and then I close out at the end, you don't get 20%. You don't get 20% if I get takeout. If I get takeout and I come pick it up.
Well, that's another question I wanted to bring up. What do you do at takeout?
I don't know. If I buy $50 worth of food and I take it out, $5. Or a lot of times I'll go fair. A lot of times I'll round it off. Oh, it's $53. All right, fine. Here's 60. Now that works out to basically 15%. But if it was 56, here's 4.
But my point is, in the past, you never.
But you'd also tip people in cash.
But you wouldn't on takeout. I think.
But also, we got to keep in mind.
COVID changed things.
Yeah, we got to keep in mind, no one's fucking working anymore. Everyone's fucking understaffed. Like pay them so they're there next week. So you don't go back to City Birds and it's closed because you can't staff the restaurant. City Birds.
What's that from?
Don't worry about it.
What's it from? Is it a TikTok reference?
Yeah.
You motherfucker. I'm sure the dirtballs love that.
That's actually probably one of my favorite ones. It's just like when guys post like savage shit they've done, there's this like follow up where this like weird like cartoon that happens after and they say City Boys. I don't even understand it, but it does make me laugh.
So our friend from Arkansas last week, Randall, who left those infamous messages yelling to his mom. Remember, the phone was upstairs. You concluded.
Yeah.
And he was yelling from the basement.
Yeah. Through a closed door.
He called back.
Oh God. Is he okay? Has he been removed?
What's up, y'all? It's Randall, Little Rock, Arkansas. Hopefully got out of my mom's basement. First of all, I want to say I'm honored to be roasted on one of my favorite podcasts. Second of all, suck that Tiger dick. Yeah. That LSU team was one of the best of all time. Love Coach O. Miss him. LSU's never going to be the same. But anyways, my claim to fame, and I was talking about the shot put. I threw shot put and beat Karl Malone's son in high school. Got to meet him a few times, just me and Carl. Big Carl chilling at a track meet, high school track meet. Yeah, I'm sure that was a great time. Anyways, my second question was, have y'all ever met someone famous that you didn't know was famous at the time? My story is my dad took me to Saints training camp one year. I was about 10. A bunch of people were crowding around this woman, and my dad forced me to go get her autograph. Later found out that was Kim Kardashian. Found out a few years later once I hit puberty. But anyways, that's my call. Thank you all for the roast. Love y'all's podcast. Stay dirty. Condoms, are for the people who fired Edge Odron, honestly. Bye.
Man, Randall wants that Coach O back. I'm glad he just found.
I like that. His claim to fame is that beating Karl Malone's. I just want to know if Karl Malone pulled up in an 18-wheeler. Remember, he used to be like, hey, "I'm a truck driver." It's like, dude, what are you? What is this? Who does truck driver cosplay?
Karl Malone had an 18-wheeler. In the back of it was like 15, 13-year-old girls.
Yeah. He claimed to fame as he beat Karl Malone's son in the shot put. The thing was, Karl Malone's son, born pretty small because he was born to a 12-year-old, premature to a 12-year-old.
You know where he's got dealerships? I've driven through. I think this was New Mexico. I remember driving through New Mexico and seeing Karl Malone car dealerships.
And that tracks.
That makes sense, right?
Age of consent's 14 in New Mexico.
Okay, so someone famous we didn't realize at the time. That's a good Kim K one. That would have been when she was dating Reggie Bush, which would have been like 2009, 2010. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure I have one of these that I can't think of right now, but I'm just going to do the one from this weekend that's like sort of low key. Is like before I knew John Lester was John Lester, he was just a guy on the fucking range hitting lefty piss missiles. And I was like, this guy. And he was like anxiously searching for a beer too. And I was like, this guy just rifling fucking left-handed drives and like shaking for a beer. And then I go to Ian, I'm like, who is that? He's like, it's John Lester. And I was like, it is John Lester. He is huge. I did not expect him to be so big. And then once I knew that, and then I found out he was a Miller Lite guy, I was like, wow, John Lester just skyrocketing up my ranks.
I don't know. I know there's got to be somebody. I think I've shared this story. I was as a freshman, or not as a freshman, as a first grader, I read enough books for the MS readathon, multiple sclerosis readathon. And so I was invited to like the banquet. I raised enough money, whatever it was, which is wild because my neighbor, this is an infamous Ruther family line. My neighbor, who was just a total drunk next door when I was a first grader, gave me the biggest donation. Like back then it was like 10 cents a book you read. And I was a first grader, or like a nickel. Right. And then you caught a guy after happy hour. He's like, it's $50. So the guy next door, Mr. Bambeck, gave me, which was unheard of at the time. He gave me a $20 bill. And I'll never forget. To this day, Andy Ruther paying it forward at City Birds. So he gives me a $20 bill. This is going to lead to something with the celebrity. Yeah. And as I'm leaving, God damn it, ruining my whole story. As I'm leaving his house, for some reason he yells out, "Read the damn book." And I was like 7, and I went home, and my parents thought it was, and my brothers thought it was so funny. And I'm like, he gave me $20, which, by the way, you don't pay until the end. Until you got to show how many books you read. You go back, collect the money. And I'm like, when I was leaving, he told me to read the damn book, like very aggressively. And it's like, what book does he want me to read? Like the Keyshawn Johnson biography. Read the damn, throw me the damn ball. Oh, I almost drowned in his pool. Actually, we used to fuck with this guy. He saved me. He was drunk and passed out. I was friends with his granddaughter. I was like 3 and I couldn't swim yet. And then the best part was my brothers were throwing rotten tomatoes from my dad's garden into his pool. And he came running over to chase him. And when he knocked on the door and was just dropping F-bombs in my mom's face, who was like appalled, he threw in, "And your kids have been throwing rocks in there for months," which was me as like a 5-year-old. Me and my friends would throw rocks in his pool. Anyway, yeah, we used to fuck with Mr. Bambeck. Where am I going with this? Fast forward, MS Readathon. Danny Jackson was the speaker, former Red Cy Young winner. I think he won a Cy Young with the Reds. Wow. And then he, played for the Cubs and a few other teams. But anyway, I was so anxious to meet him. And you got to meet everybody, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, where is he? He's late. Where's Danny Jackson? And he's literally right next to me. He goes, oh, I'm here, kid. I'm Danny Jackson. And it was like one of those moments where I just felt like an idiot. So I didn't know who he was. I just, like when you're that age, you see him in a Reds uniform. And then it was like, I couldn't comprehend without a hat. And then he's wearing glasses.
Yeah.
And you're just like a young, dumb kid.
My other one I have, now you've reminded me of it. I was like 21 or 22. I'm playing blackjack in Atlantic City. And I'm playing blackjack for a while at this table. And there's a black guy at the table with me. And I remember he had a pink polo shirt. Kind of looks like he wasn't he was not a big guy. He didn't strike me as like, oh, I should know this dude is an athlete or whatever. Then my brother Mikey walks up. Mikey's like fucking trash. Mikey's like 18, has been drinking in a casino. Mikey walks up and he's like, and I'm like chatting with the guy, and the guy was kind of like gruff, but like, he wasn't like a super dick to me. And Mikey walks up and goes, that's Marvin Harrison. I was like, is it? And he goes, it's Marvin Harrison. And then he goes, I was like, he looks kind of small. And Mikey goes, I'm telling you, that's Marvin Harrison. And then he goes, hey, are you Marvin Harrison? And Marvin Harrison goes, you already fucking asked me that, kid. And I was like, no, you didn't. You just got here. And we were all like looking at each other like, what the fuck? And then, of course, years later, we realized that we're lucky Mikey was not murdered that day, because Marvin Harrison, he's a murderer. Yeah.
He's a murderer. By the way, I got to correct myself. Danny Jackson did not win the Cy Young.
I did think that was suspect. I was like, what year was that event?
He was second in 88. Hershiser won it. But here's what's wild. Dude, listen to how comparable their numbers are. They both went 23-8 that year. Hershiser pitched 7 more innings.
Hershiser had that run that year where he didn't give up a run for whatever it was, like 50 something innings in a row.
Yeah. And he had 17 more strikeouts. I mean, they were any other year he wins that, don't you think?
Sure.
I mean, 23-8, 2.73 ERA. 15. They each had 15 complete games.
That's bananas.
Dude, when's the last time a guy had 2 pitchers in the same season from the same league had 15 complete games?
You think there's been 15 complete games in baseball this year?
No.
I would think no.
Yeah. No way. No way. Okay, here's another good question that we'll end on. Once again, hotline 310-359-8365. I can't really think of one for this, but I'll be real curious what you have to say. If I can find this. Hold on, where is it?
What's up, boys? Number one stripper, DirtBall Bryson, calling to you live from the A. Got a crazy question, which is a fun little topic. I want to see. I saw it on Twitter. Who is, or if you can remember, the greatest high school athlete you ever saw? Like whether you were growing up and watched them live, or I know Joe, like you coached high school baseball or something at one point in your life, and you were around a bunch of high school sports and athletes. Do y'all ever recall or remember just seeing one high school athlete? They don't even have to be a pro now, or maybe they are. Who knows? That you just remember standing out like out of all your years watching high school sports. Mine's actually the backup quarterback at UGA right now. His name is Brock Vandergrift. I saw him 3 years ago play my old high school. We ended up winning, but he had 7 touchdowns, 700 yards, and they lost 72-73. But the kid's insane. He's going to be a great athlete. He'll be in the NFL in the next 2 or 3 years, I'm sure. He was Gatorade Player of the Year, but that's the kid in my mind that stands out. So I was just curious, like, do y'all recall seeing one high school athlete that's just like the greatest you ever seen? So stay dirty, boys.
I have my top 3. It's a no-brainer. They're my top 3. All that I saw while I was in high school, a couple years younger than maybe 1 or 2 years, 1 year younger than one of them, a couple years younger than the other 2. Right around the same age though. All basketball players. First one I ever saw, Dan Gadzuric. He ended up playing at UCLA You ended up playing in the Milwaukee Bucks, 7-footer. We played against him in high school. It was unbelievable, dude. I was on the bench. I was cheering for their team. He was dunking on absolutely everybody. He was dunking on absolutely everybody. And what was amazing is he played at some like weird prep school. He was Dutch. He's from the Netherlands. So he was like, he barely spoke English. He wore like the Kareem goggles. But dude, you walk on a high school. It was at a like Christmas basketball tournament, like a sleepaway basketball tournament. We go with our high school team. We show up to the game. There's a 7-footer on the other side, a 7-footer, a legit full-on 7-foot tall guy. I was like, this is going to be banana land. And the two kids who played guard for him, I swear to God, were like the stoniest hippies, like hemp necklaces. One kid had like white dreads, and they looked like they were burnt out of their mind. And their entire job was just throwing alley-oop passes to the 7-foot tall. He dunked on everybody. And I was like on the bench, like I'm the guy going crazy on the bench. And my coach got so mad at me. He goes, "You think this is funny, don't you?" I go, "It's not funny. It's amazing." He goes, "Yeah, we're getting our ass kicked." He goes, "You know what that means? When we get our ass kicked, you get to play. So you're about to get fucking dunked on." I was like, "No, okay." So I went in, scored a cool 5 points, and was like on a break with him at one point. And then I just like pulled up. I was like, I'm not getting dunked on. Fuck that. I remember I made a little leaner in the lane. I went baseline for a nice little fucking reverse layup. And I went 1 for 2 at the free throw line. 5 points in the game against fucking Dan Gadzurek. That was one I saw up close and personal. The other two, and this is pretty legendary. I went and saw an AAU game when I was in high school, a summer league AAU game. And it was between two local teams, one Elton Brand's team, one Tim Thomas's team. And everybody was just talking about, these are the guys. He's going to Duke. He's going to Villanova. These are the top 2 prospects in the fuck country. Like, they're both from here. They're both like super local to me. And Elton Brand was the guy. Everybody was like, peak skills Elton Brand. He's going to be the best player in the country, blah, 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 blah. Dude, Tim Thomas in this little gym. And we were on like one of the upper things, took a rebound down on one end, goes coast to coast, and does the throw it off the backboard to himself dunk in traffic. And I was like, yo, I know everybody's like on Elton Brand's jock. Tim Thomas is the fucking dude. I was like, I've never seen that at any level ever, let alone in this game that's supposed to be like between the two teams. This guy grabs it, goes coast to coast, throws himself the LeBron off the backboard. I was like, that was the legit craziest basketball play I've ever seen in my life in person to this day.
That's wild. So
both of those guys, all 3 of those guys, obviously play in the NBA. 2 of them like serious NBA careers.
Yeah. My senior year, I wasn't on the basketball team, but we won state. We were 25-2. LeBron, I don't really remember it, sadly. LeBron's team played. So the state finals are where Ohio State plays. I don't even know what it's called at this point. It's Schottenstein Center. I don't know what it is. But LeBron, at the time, Akron St. Mary St. Vincent was Division II. I think they might be Division III, or maybe they were Division III back then. Anyway, I don't remember. I think they won state LeBron's freshman year, or they made it to the state championship. He played before our game, and everybody was talking about him. But sadly, I was probably drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm in the stands in the student section. I don't really remember it, which kind of sucks to think that freshman high school LeBron, but I was there. Like, so I don't really have the best story. I'm trying to think on, NFL guys, but like nobody huge. I remember, so like, and he didn't have a huge career. Like, he was like a journeyman in the NFL, but like even from my own high school, like Rocky Boyman, who went to Notre Dame, was just such a freak. Like, and he was, we went to Notre Dame, they moved him to like defensive end, but he was a strong safety, and they put him in at wide receiver at times. And like, against Moeller, which is one of our big rivals. It's where like Kenny Roof Jr. went and Barry Larkin. Anyway, they put him in at the end of a game for a Hail Mary, which sent the game into overtime my sophomore year. And it was just like, you couldn't stop the guy. But yeah, I mean, I know there's more that I can't think of off the top of my head for sure. But it is wild to like see guys at a young age and then like how good they are. Like I think high school games are fun to go to. I do personally. Like a high school basketball game or a high school football game. I think it's still fun to go to, even if it's not your team or your school. Just go check it out. It's cheap, you know. I don't know. I know there's got to be more. I'll think of one later, of course. Again, 310-359-8365. That's the hotline. Give us a ring. And we'll hopefully get to your call. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. You can follow me at Andy Ruther. Joe is on social media. You can follow him
at Fix Your Life on Twitter, at Joe Prano on all other social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you know, all the things. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I usually post my upcoming shows. Go to joeprano.com if you want to see some upcoming shows. Got some shows coming up in and around LA. Got officially will be in Vegas August 29th to September 4th at the Comedy Cellar in Vegas, and putting together some more shows now that, you know, post summer gonna get back onto the grind. So stay on joeprano.com. Still on Vimeo. Sorry, not Vimeo. Still on Venmo. Still on Cameo. Venmo and Cameo together is Vimeo. Yeah, still on all those things. So if you want to shout out, go there. On either one of those, I've done some on Cameo, some off Cameo, you know, different pay scales. So if you want to shout out, you can find me in all those places.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back on Thursday. Have a great start to your week. And as always, stay dirty.